me, one of the most frustrating things is going to cook food in a kitchen where you don't have good bits and bobs, right? I mean, and I do that sometimes. Friends will call me up and ask me to come and cook. I have a great friend called Nicola. She's always saying, I'm having people over for dinner, and then I get there and I have to start cooking. But Nicola has nothing in her kitchen to cook with. No bowls, no sharp knives, no nothing. And I think that it's something that you really need to think about because it so adds to the cooking experience if you've got some decent utensils. So we're gonna do some bits and bobs, some of my favorite bits and bobs and some recommendations for you. All right, so in front of me, I have a regular cornucopia of things, right? So let's start from over here. Some kitchen scissors I find incredibly useful. Sometimes if I'm cooking something in the pot, I'll actually just start cutting them up. I'm not happy with the size of it. I'll cut things up directly in the pot. And of course, you know, opening packages and things like that, a pair of kitchen scissors is very useful. And these guys here can come apart, which means they're easy to wash, right? You got a cleaver, Chinese chopper. Serrated knife, which I use for cutting bread only. I don't like using serrated knives for anything but bread. You have your rather large kitchen knives, and then you've got your smaller kitchen knives. You have to decide what you prefer. I actually would tend more towards using knives that are this size. They're much more maneuverable, easier on the wrist, and they do exactly what I want them to do, right? Of course, you must have a good chopping board, otherwise you're going to wreck your countertops. And there's, you know, you have a beautiful kitchen and totally wreck countertops, it doesn't work. And also trying to chop things up on a plate doesn't work. So a good chopping board is really important. I've got here a block of Post-its. I find that I get my best inspiration for different kinds of recipes when I'm cooking. So I'll say, oh gosh, but that tastes real good, boy. I wonder what I put in there. And because I'm always inventing things all the time, and I think most of us are like that. We start at the pot and you throw this and you throw that and you throw the other, and you think it tastes really good, but then when you want to make it again, you can't. So I actually keep paper in the kitchen all the time and make notes of what ingredients and roughly what quantities I've used if I think something tastes really delicious. All right, of course, you're going to have some measuring cups. I'm not a big baker. I like food. I'm not a big cake person and things like that. So I find the things that I would want in my kitchen are quite different perhaps to the things that somebody who likes to bake would want. So I do use measuring cups though for various recipes. If you were baking, you would have measuring cups, sieve, you would have lots of different sizes of cake pans and bread pans and that sort of thing, right? Not to mention all the other collection of bits and bobs that goes with baking. Then I find some nesting bowls really useful. Lots of bowls of different sizes. I've got a whole batch of these guys. I've got all the nesting bowls on my shelves. And those are useful just for mixing different quantities of things. Also, I actually do presentations in these bowls. Nice salads, chopped up vegetables, that sort of thing. I don't feel embarrassed or aha whatsoever to serve people food out of really nice nesting bowls. Of course, you're going to have your potato masher because there's nothing more frustrating than trying to mash potatoes with a fork or a spoon. I've got two different kinds of whisks. If I'm making like a white sauce or a cheese sauce, I'm going to do this. Use this big whisk. If I'm making like hot chocolate or something like cappuccino-esque and I'm trying to whip the warm milk, I'll use something more like that, right? A spatula. I've got loads of spatulas in many different sizes. Again, it's great for just kind of getting into the bowl and making sure you don't waste anything, all right? Spatula. Then, let's take this, a vegetable peeler. I prefer this kind of vegetable peeler. I find it gives me more power, but then ergonomically, some people might prefer this kind of vegetable peeler. But a peeler is incredibly useful. As you can see from all over the kitchen, I have a huge variety of wooden spoons. They're great because if you use Teflon pans, they don't scratch the pans, they don't damage your pots in any way, and they don't alter the flavor of the food, right? So I tend to use more wooden spoons than metal spoons. A good tin opener. I was earlier this year, I had my tin opener, the one that I'd had for many years, was just falling apart, and it was driving me nuts because I was trying to open like a tin of tuna and it takes forever. It's more dangerous if you don't have a good sharp tin opener because you're much more likely to cut your hand on the tin. So this is my new tin opener. I'm really happy with it. I drink wine. And so a corkscrew is essential for me, right? If you don't drink wine, you don't need a corkscrew, but if you're going to drink wine, you do. A garlic crusher. I really like this one. It's quite interesting design. The plunger is on its own axis. Is that what this is? Anyway, whatever you call this, it moves around. And I find it a much more efficient garlic press than, say, something like this, which is another one that I've got. This one, all the garlic kind of pushes up the outside, whereas this one, you actually get it in, right? I also have this great thing that I love. So I have this tool which is called a mandolin. Now, a mandolin is quite dangerous. It's very sharp, but it has, basically it comes with this element here, which is the blade, right? And then it comes with loads of other attachments depending on what you're trying to cut, okay? So, I'll give you a little demonstration. I want to just do thin slices of carrot. Let's get my little bowl. And I'm basically going to, oops, cut it this way. Like that. It's really fast and really easy. Beautiful thin slices. With the same mandolin, I can do something like this attachment. Nice big wedges, and you can do this to make like French fries and chips, right? And then I have a much smaller attachment that goes in my mandolin, and I use this all the time. This is my favorite attachment, and I can see lovely little bits of julienne carrot, and you can do all kinds of vegetables in there.